Otherside by Barbara G.Tarn. Copyright 2018. Narrated by Erin Parker. Otherside, Chapter 1. Jessica locked her red Honda Civic with the remote, muttering under her breath. It had stopped raining, but the sky was still gray, the air still damp, and the ground mostly still wet and muddy. She jumped over a puddle and reached the door of the little cottage hidden in the woods. It hadn't been easy to find and looked even worse than expected. Her father had told her it had been abandoned in the late 1960s and was considered haunted. Therefore, nobody wanted to keep up the maintenance or take on such an undesirable property. Dad could have mentioned his sister Judith and her cottage a tad earlier, instead of when Jessica was going through a nasty divorce and everything in her life seemed to be going downhill. The offer of a free roof over her head was tempting, but seeing a previously unknown family heirloom was unsettling, especially now that she was staring at the wild garden attempting to engulf the cottage. The utilities had been turned off, so she'd have to call the relevant companies to get electricity and running water back, maybe even reactivate the landline, and she'd have to check the heating system. The gravelly road that had led her here was also badly in need of maintenance. A meow startled her as she tried to open the door. A stray cat sat beside the door and stared at her with amber eyes. A mackerel tabby with a striped pattern in hues of gray and red. "Well, hello there," she said, crouching to pet the cat. The cat closed its eyes and purred, making her chuckle. Cats were so much better than men. The cold wind blew her brown hair across her face and she snorted, quickly rising to bind it into a ponytail. She also closed the summer raincoat that was flapping freely around her slender frame. Better go inside before it started raining again. She watched the tabby vanish behind the corner of the house and finally managed to unlock the door. The smell of decay and years of abandonment engulfed her as she tried to close the door behind her. The entrance was relatively small, with 2 doors left and right leading to the rest of the house, and an intricate, ornamental cherry tree affixed to the wall in front of her. The cat emerged from the crack between 2 broken boards from what might be a dark cellar under the house, and climbed the leafless cherry tree. Half the trunk was inside the wall, as if it had been built around a live tree at some point. "What a royal cat tree you have," she told the tabby. She had never had room for a real tree for her cats to climb on. What a lucky stray cat. Jessica made the floor creak and crackle with every step, so she stopped a few steps in to look around. There were paintings on both walls.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?